Cesare Lombroso's Positivist Theory. Cesare Lombroso was an Italian doctor and criminologist who lived in the 1800s. He is considered one of the early pioneers in the field of criminology. Lombroso had a very different way of thinking about crime compared to the people before him. In his time, most people believed that crime was a result of free will, meaning that people chose to commit crimes because they wanted to. But Lombroso believed something else. He thought that crime was not just a choice, but that some people were born criminals, and that their criminal behavior was caused by biology and physical traits. This idea is known as the positivist theory of crime. Lombroso believed that you could recognize a criminal by looking at the shape of their head, face, or body. He said that criminals had certain physical features that were different from non-criminals. For example, he believed that people with long arms, large jaws, big ears, sloping foreheads, or certain kinds of skull shapes were more likely to be criminals. He called these features atavistic, which means they were throwbacks to earlier stages of human evolution. In other words, he thought that criminals looked like primitive humans and were less evolved than the rest of us. He came up with this theory after studying the bodies and skulls of people in prison and even dead criminals. He said that these people shared physical characteristics that could be linked to their criminal behavior. According to Lombroso, these criminals were born with these traits, and that is why they committed crimes. He believed that just like some people are born with talents for music or sports, others are born with a natural tendency to break the law. Lombroso divided criminals into different types. The first and most important group, according to him, was the born criminal. These were people who were born with the atavistic traits and had a natural instinct to commit crimes. The second group was criminals by passion, who committed crimes because of strong emotions like love, anger, or jealousy. The third group was occasional criminals, who committed crimes because of their environment or situation but were not born that way. One of the most important parts of Lombroso's theory was that he wanted to use science to understand crime. That is why his theory is called positivist. Positivism is the idea that we should use facts, observations, and evidence to study the world. Lombroso wanted to study criminals like a scientist studies diseases or nature. He thought that if we could understand the biological causes of crime, then we could prevent it by identifying and treating criminals early in life. Lombroso's theory was very influential in his time. It changed the way people thought about crime and punishment. Before him, the justice system mostly focused on punishing criminals after they committed crimes. But Lombroso's theory suggested that we could identify criminals before they committed crimes and take steps to prevent them from doing harm. This idea led to new discussions about how to handle crime, including using science and medicine in the justice system. However, as time went on, many people began to criticize Lombroso's ideas. Modern scientists have found that there is no clear link between physical features and criminal behavior. Just because someone has a certain face shape or body type does not mean they are more likely to commit a crime. Also, his theory did not take into account the role of poverty, environment, education, and family in shaping a person's behavior. Many people commit crimes because they are desperate, lack opportunities, or grow up in tough neighborhoods, not because of how they look. Another problem with Lombroso's theory is that it can lead to dangerous stereotypes. If we believe that some people are born to be criminals, we might treat them unfairly or deny them chances in life. It can also lead to discrimination against people who look a certain way or come from certain backgrounds. That is why today, most criminologists reject the idea that physical appearance alone can determine whether someone is a criminal. Even though Lombroso's theory has many flaws, it is still important to learn about it. His work helped create the field of criminology, which is the study of crime and criminals. He was one of the first people to say that we should use science to understand criminal behavior. While his specific ideas are outdated, his belief in using research and evidence is still used in modern criminology. Today, researchers study crime using psychology, sociology, and biology, but they do it in a more complete and fair way than Lombroso did. Lombroso's work also reminds us that our understanding of crime and human behavior has changed a lot over time. In the past, people were quick to blame others based on looks or background. Now, we try to understand the deeper reasons behind crime. We know that things like childhood trauma, lack of education, mental health issues, peer pressure, and economic hardship all play a role in why people break the law. That is why we no longer accept the idea that criminals are simply born bad. In the end, Cesare Lombroso's positivist theory teaches us both the power and danger of using science to explain human behavior. On one hand, it shows how important it is to study crime using facts and evidence. On the other hand, it reminds us to be careful not to jump to conclusions based on appearances or incomplete information. True understanding of human behavior comes from looking at the whole person, their biology, mind, emotions, and environment, not just their looks. If you found this explanation interesting and want to learn more about psychology, sociology, and theories of human behavior in easy and simple language, please give this video a like and do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us create more helpful content for you and others who want to learn. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.